Morocco has been fantastic as well. In Morocco, we're working to boost employability of the Moroccan workers and increasing land productivity. So really excited to hear from you with regard to how infrastructure projects have specifically been able to target gender equality and the female labor force, as well as all of the work we've done on vocational education. So with that, I will turn it over to you to maybe give a bit of the landscape of our program, as well as to share how the impact is working with the average person on the ground.
Thank you so much, Aisha. It's a really great opportunity to be here today. And thank you so much also, Madam Albright. And it's a pleasure and an honor to participate in this gathering, this webinar. So Morocco Compact is a $460 million. Half of it is dedicated to infrastructure in the areas of employability and also the land governance and land productivity. I will zoom today on the industrial zones just because we don't have a lot of time, but it's also very much linked to improving women employability in the new industries, in the global industries of the world. So Morocco constraints analysis to economic growth carried out during the development of the compact a few years ago emphasized the low valuation of industrial zones in Morocco. We have between 114 and 120 industrial zones that are built by the government, by the public sector. And usually the private sector perspective to develop in these zones was not observed. What you see in the picture is what we're doing right now. I will explain a little bit the scope of the work. But yeah, the 114 industrial zones are mainly public. I should also share that as of today, less than 20% of total workforce in Morocco is women. Each year it decreases for a lot of reasons. I will get to that also. But mainly the workforce is, if we can quote, hostile to women, the way they work, the way they want to balance their personal life, family life, and work life is not very much friendly. So each year we have a lot of women that actually escape that. While when we look at the data in education, the number or the rate of candidates that they go through baccalaureate exam succeed really very outstandingly at the university, 60 to 70% are women. But when we go to the workforce, less than 20 are women. So to meet this constraint, the compact provided for the extension and rehabilitation of 3 industrial zones that will serve as a model for the government to implement and scale up. And they're located in the region of Casablanca, which is known to be a very good economic region. The model promoted relies on the lever of public-private sector partnership. In this configuration, the investment of the public sector that went through MCA-Morocco with the MCC contribution served to de-risk the transaction for the private sector developer. The investment consisted of mobilizing the land, conducting technical studies, undertaking what we call off-site works. And the budget allocated to that work was $54 million. Contractors and engineers were asked to align with international construction standards, as well as observing rigorously IFC standards of health and safety on the sites. MCA-Morocco, as well as MCC teams, made sure to regularly quality audit all the sites and make sure that the terms of the contracts are respected, because our contractors and in Morocco do not have the same standards. So we have to build, but at the same time, educate the constructors and the engineers with the new rules and regulations. So it took tremendous effort to get them aligned. We also watched workers' rights to decent compensation, management and sorting of waste, supervision of work at height, and then management of complaints. And that was a really great transfer to Moroccan companies that work in the construction to learn more about these standards and be able to also work internationally. They gained a lot of markets in other African countries working with big donors, because now they learned how to respond to such standards. So among major infrastructures built, as you see like in the picture, construction of a wastewater treatment plant. It's an investment of $13 million, which aims to treat wastewaters from existing industrial zones that are currently discharged into nature. It thus provides an immediate solution to the problem of wastewater going from the city of Casablanca to the beach, as well as to the problem of water stress or drought through the future use of treated water to watering green spaces in the city nearby. Other public investment went to paving the roads. You can see in the picture as well, the road, the top picture. And then building up roads that connect the industrial zone to the city so that public transportation and even private transportation could actually link the industrial zone to the city where the workers would be coming from. The public sector also provided police and security services in the zone, clean water connection to the public lighting, and also other public transportation connecting different cities. The private sector, on the other side, is responsible for funding inside works like daycare, restaurants, and catering, building for the association of users of the industrial zone, manufacturing units. And then they will offer continuing education, recruitments, marketing, management, maintenance of the zone. So that's the private sector in the PPP role. In terms of strengthening and promoting women's access to the labor market, and after consultation with women working in the pilot industrial zone, as well as those living in the surrounding area, the model adopted required from the private sector to supply services aimed at improving women's access to work and also their working condition, in particular security at all levels, provides private transportation with shuttles to and from the industrial zone, maintain public lighting at night, decent public facilities, sanitation, such as also primary health services and collective catering. In terms of synergy with the vocational training program that you mentioned, Aisha, a specialized institute in applied technology, because we want women to also go into these emerging industrial areas. It was built close to the industrial zone of Hetzwellen and is financed within the framework of the compact, and also adopted a PPP. The next picture, please, will show the next slide, please. We'll show that's for the waste. The next one, please. Yes, so that's the institute. And it also adopts a governance based on private sector, public sector partnership, and is run by the private sector industrial association. And one of the requirements to recruit students is to have at least half of the students that are women trained in the area of digital work, so that they can have easy access to employments at the industrial zone, so they're close to each other. That's about what I would like to share with you today for industrial zones. Thank you so much.
Great, that's fantastic. And this is a great example too of both hard and soft infrastructure, because we've talked about a series of different things that we're doing in the Morocco Compact. But I think that it's wonderful that there's some policy transformation that's happened. One of the first public-private partnerships with regard to the PPP, and being able to have that requirement of 50% of the class being women is fantastic. So thank you for that. I did want to just follow up and say too that are you seeing and what is the overall transformation with regard to addressing women's labor participation? Are you seeing the transformation that you had hoped for?
Thank you. So we haven't finished yet. We're at the last year of the compact. So the industrial zone is not yet functioning right away, but the training center will kick off in September. The only thing is that what we have contracted with the private sector and with the public sector Ministry of Industry is quotas of women to access that domain. But in addition to this, you have seen a little bit the quality of infrastructure that respects the environment, respects nature, and the security and the daycare facilitation catering that will improve the access of women to be part of the workforce, because these are the criteria that actually prevent them now from accessing industrial zone. It's dangerous to be in an industrial zone. There is no public lighting. There is no daycare to take care of their children. And security is a big issue. So that solves for the major constraints to access in these industrial zones by women.
That's great. Thank you so much, Malika. Great. So we will move on to Ambassador Pinto.